Is there for us. Charlotte, when we went back to you last about 40 minutes ago, it was a riotous atmosphere. What's it like now?
Well, it feels much more of a festive atmosphere, people clapping behind me and shouting their slogans. But let me tell you, that belies some of the violence that we've seen in the last hour as clashes have broken out between some of the protesters, a very small number of them, and the police here in Paris. This was meant to be a peaceful protest, a day for civil servants to come out onto the streets to voice their concerns about the reforms to the civil service, to voice concerns about their salary, and also about the fact that President Macron has promised he will cut 120,000 jobs in his first 5 years in office. Instead, it's turned out to be massive confrontations between the police and protesters, which started off with the protesters smashing up shops, as you might have seen there, smashing up bus stops, graffitiing. Then they were setting fire to bins and then throwing some sort of fireworks into the crowds. The police responded with tear gas, and we got caught up in that tear gas. This is one of around 130 protests taking part nationwide in France on this day of solidarity between the unions. 9 unions getting involved, who represent about 5.7 million workers here in France. But again, that idea of voicing their concerns on the street has been hijacked once more by the violence that we've seen from a small number of protesters. Some of those protesters we've also seen being taken away by the security services here. They've been manhandled pretty nastily, and we saw some of the protesters actually being injured in some of those clashes. One man about an hour ago was sitting down on the side of the street. He was receiving medical attention because he had blood dripping down his face. As I said, a number of people have already been detained. This protest looks like it's nowhere near to completion, and the police are in the streets, out in force, surrounding, waiting to clamp down once again if any more violence happens here.
Yeah, it does seem to be following a similar pattern in recent months. Starts peaceful, then turns into the scenes that we've been looking at. Charlotte Dubinsky live in Paris. Thanks, Charlotte.